It's Marvel's turn at its first female-led flick, and with all the hype surrounding Captain Marvel, we're gonna let you know whether or not it lives up to the hype.
Captain Marvel is directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who have previously collaborated on some indie films, including Half Nelson starring Ryan Gosling. Here they're helming their first superhero blockbuster film, and this film stars Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Annette Bening, and Jude Law. Captain Marvel is the origin story of Carol Danvers as she tries to uncover her past and rediscover her identity. In the meantime, she's caught in this war between two alien races, the Skrulls and the Krees.
And so the movie opens in the middle of this conflict between those two races, and as far as any background, it unfolds like in flashbacks throughout the movie, which I thought was a pretty good touch.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite aspects of this film actually, is the way in which the flashbacks are interwoven throughout the exposition, because they didn't feel forced. I felt like it was very organic and seamless, the way that you slowly found out about her past and how it connected to what's happening, in the exposition.
It doesn't start off in the 90s like you might imagine based on the trailer, but eventually it leads to that. And if you're 90s guys like us, that decade was alive and well in this movie. I mean, you have everything from like dial-up, internet cafes.
Oh, that's one of the funniest scenes in the movie. The whole internet and them downloading things forever.
She's like, what's happening? It's downloading.
The Blockbuster video that they show.
Exactly.
And she wears a 9 Inch Nails t-shirt.
Right, they think that she's dressed up like in laser tag.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, everything 90s was there, and I thought that they did a good job of giving you a taste of that, but they didn't oversaturate it.
Yes, but still it was very nostalgic, and if you love the 90s, you're gonna love all the callbacks, including several 90s tunes from, Nirvana, REM,
there were a ton
TLC,
of them.
A bunch of people,
a bunch of people. So let's go back to the storyline. As far as the source material, you have to understand this movie is a major departure from the source material. Yeah, there are some callbacks, but this is a new movie for today's audiences.
Absolutely.
And some people will like that and see it as refreshing, and some people it'll rub the wrong way.
Well, and I think that obviously they're trying to make it a movie about a strong female character, and that comes across not just through Brie Larson's portrayal of Danvers, but other characters as well, and I don't think I'm giving anything away. But that's something admirable about the film, a lot of girl power in there.
There was one major thing in the storyline that was altered for the movie, just in general, right? And at first I didn't like it, but I got over it. There's another major change that I was like, yes, I love what you did with this. This was a fresh take on a Marvel storyline, and it worked for the plot.
Absolutely. Speaking of the plot, let's talk about the dialogue a little bit. One of the things that I love about this movie is beyond its exposition, there comes a point where Brie Larson's character and Samuel L. Jackson's character, Nick Fury, they meet. And that's one of my favorite aspects of this movie is their chemistry.
Right, they really do have good chemistry.
They do have good chemistry, and the dialogue is very sharp and quick-witted when they have their scenes together. It's refreshingly funny. There's a lot of humor.
There's a ton of humor in this movie, which I thought really buoyed it.
Again, like some of my favorite Marvel movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok, the strength is the humor, and I think that this movie pulled it off as well.
Right, they did a really good job, and they needed that because I'll be honest, it's a very basic plot. I mean, you said it was good chemistry between she and Samuel L. Jackson, but I thought some of the dialogue or some of the even script writing of characters was kind of a little like bland. I see what they were trying to do, but it didn't really move me. The drama didn't move me.
Some of the one-liners are cheesy, especially the ones that would come out of Brie Larson's character as Danvers. But I was surprised that Samuel L. Jackson was in the movie as much, as much screen time as he had was surprising to me. And I like the fact that the two of them were on the screen together a lot of the time. And I preferred the first half of the movie actually than the second half. But that being said, I like the way that it crescendo, and I like the way that it kind of like catapulted to a nice climax.
Right, now going back to Brie Larson, a lot of people were wondering how she was going to do in this movie, right? Her acting didn't bother me, but I didn't really see much depth in her character, and I don't know if that was like the writing of the character or maybe like how she portrayed it, but
there wasn't a lot of depth to any of the characters actually. To me, Jude Law's character was sort of an afterthought. Like I kind of forgot about him a little bit.
Yeah, kind kind of like a plot device, if you will.
Yeah.
Because he was important in her growth.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what all the supporting characters really were in there for, were to, like, you know, make her stand out a little bit more, I guess. But with Brie Larson, you know, she's an Oscar winner, but this is really not a role, you know, to showcase great acting. No. But she did well in it. I mean, comparable to Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman, you know. I mean, they both did well in their roles.
Yeah, I thought Gal Gadot did a better acting job. But
oh yeah, you think she did better? I think they're pretty comparable.
Well, hey, look. So you were mentioning that it had a nice crescendo, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about the climax. Obviously, you guys saw in the trailer that there's this huge intergalactic scene where she's blasting stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And it really is pretty breathtaking, and it is as cool as you would think it's going to be. I wanted more of it, though.
Yes, I agree with that. It felt really rushed a little bit, but the special effects towards the end, well, all throughout, but at the end of the movie, some really bright neon glowing colors, man.
Yeah.
Really good eye candy at the end of the movie. Not to mention the musical score throughout the movie is
yeah, you liked it specifically.
I liked it. I thought it was catchy. Yeah. It actually reminded me of a lot of 90s musical scores.
And as far as any other type of techniques, I mean, the obvious thing that stood out was the de-aging technology that Marvel has just blown everyone out of the water with. I mean, you look at Samuel L. Jackson, and he was perfectly de-aged. I was deliberately trying to find flaws in the de-aging of certain characters, and I could not find any.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is masterful.
Another thing that was masterfully done, by the way, was the editing. In some fight scenes, especially at the beginning of the film and at the end, there were some great point of view shots, and they were really fast-paced, and it made you feel like you were one of the, you know, characters in the middle of the fight.
Right.
I really enjoyed, by the way, the opening sequence of this film. I don't know if you remember, but the cinematography, there was a grittiness about it. It was really hazy.
Like we said at the beginning, this movie was so hyped for so long. And as far as living up to the hype, I would say it falls just short of that. Again, one of the biggest things for me was the humor, especially I didn't even mention Ben Mendelsohn and how his character was funny without trying to be. He's a nice treat for the movie, but again, it wasn't anything that was spectacular or moving for me, and I think that's what kind of bumped it down a little bit. So as far as a real rating, I'm gonna give this 4 reels.
4 reels, eh? All right then. Well, going back to Brie Larson, I just really liked her spunkiness in this film, and as far as Samuel L. Jackson's portrayal of the young Fury, I really liked how he was more naive and a novice, and it's nice to see how, you know, he really was mindful about showing that side of his young, you know, Fury character, and I really did enjoy those scenes with the two of them, so I am going to give it 4 reels as well.
Definitely worth going to theater to watch, guys. Not Marvel's best movie to date, but still pretty good.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people felt like this was not going to be that great, but actually I was surprised. It wasn't bad at all. And for that matter, you should go to the Alamo Drafthouse to check it out, because they always have great service, great food.
And that's our real take on Captain Marvel, so tune in next time for our real take on movies. Find us on social media. On Facebook, we're at Real Screeners, and on Instagram, we're at real.screeners.
And if you like our reviews, don't forget to leave your comments below. Tell us your thoughts on Captain Marvel, and click that subscribe and bell button, and we'll see you next time when we review Captive State.
No!
She's caught in the middle of a little conflict
between spaghetti and meatballs.
Captain Marvel is the origin story of Carol Danvers as she uncovers her past.
And then, of course, if you're a 90s guy or a 90 or an 80...
But then...
there goes our one take.
So 4 reels, eh? Okay, well.
Okay, man. Well, I tell you what, bro.